Hello guys, and welcome to the Ultimate Experience video. The main reason why I'm calling it that way is because I'm going to be including in this video basically all of the tests that I did previously on my wizard, and also all of the tests that I will be doing in the future also on my wizard. About 3 weeks ago or so, I went through all of my experience videos and I made an Excel file to basically combine all of them so I can see the experience easier. And I suppose it's finally time to make that Excel file public and make a video about it. Now, before you go on asking why I didn't make this video 3 weeks ago, basically there are two main reasons. One of them is because of the experience patch, so I just had to test and see what the difference was to basically scale all of my previous tests to all of my current ones. And still to this day I'm not exactly sure what the exact increase is, but I basically am using the 33% value that I tested on a previous video. And the second reason is because I simply prioritized other videos on top of this one. Now keep in mind that this is not going to be including the older tests made on my Ranger and also the few ones that I made recently on my Berzerker, so it's just purely my wizard's data. With that all aside, the link for the Excel file is going to be in the video description and also on my Discord server. And before you go on to download and look at it, let me explain to you how it works so you can actually have some understanding about how to read what I included in there. Starting from the top, you can already see that I already mentioned that this is going to be including mainly the solo grinding tests, because I obviously tested the experience for grinding solo and only Sosans and Pirates have some team data. The other locations are purely solo grinding. In terms of the experience values, they are all going to be displayed in experience per minute, because that's how I tested them and that's basically the easiest form. You can just multiply that by 30 or 60 and see whatever amount you want later on. So the base value for all of the tests in here is experience per minute. Each area has its own column, so basically Kadris has one, Fogons has another, and if you look next to the title you will see that the level is displayed in orange. So the orange color means the level that I actually was when I tested the location, because if you look for example at the buffed Sosons test, I have level 60 in orange and level 59 and 58 in yellow. That's because the level 60 represents the level I was when I tested the Sosans area after the buff, and then I took the level 60 values and I converted them down to 59 and 58, because previously on all of my experience videos, level 58 was the base default value. So basically all of them were converted to level 58 so I can compare each area to each other. That's why I had to convert the level 60 value back to level 58, and I did that for all of the areas. If you look at Pilaku for example, I tested that one at 59 and then it's converted to 58. So keep in mind that all of the orange values or basically the ones in green are the true experience values that I got at the time of testing, and all of the yellow ones are just conversions made with the experience scaling values that I either tested myself or I found online. Also, about the experience, keep in mind that all of the values are downgraded from the normal buff that I had back to a normal 100% experience ratio. So all of these values are as if you would grind with only the 100% experience with no experience buffs at all. So on top of these values that you see on the file, you can basically add all of your buffs that you're using and see the final result which you would get with all of your buffs. Next up, there's the experience values underlined in orange. So those represent the best experience per minute, or as a result experience per hour, that you can get on a certain area. So for example, on the Crescent Shrine, the main rotation, which is the biggest one, the one everyone knows, is the best rotation there. Or at Sosans, the main spot has the best experience. So the underlined value represents the best rotation on a certain area. After that, there's the one odd red value that I have at Bandits, or at least currently there's only one, and I hope there's only one. So that one represents a retest that I did after I finished testing the location. So basically I made that one in red because initially I tested Bandits at level 58, and then later on, after I leveled to level 60, I tested the cliffside rotation again on my wizard, and also with better gear. So that red value basically represents another test done at the normal level, but it has higher gear and higher clearing speed, so I couldn't really compare it to the other tests. That's about all I can say about the first part of this chart, so the rest should be pretty self-explanatory. You can just take these values and compare them to your class. Also keep in mind that all of them are made from the perspective of a wizard, and wizards grind pretty much faster than most classes. So you can expect to get less experience than what I got on all of these areas. Moving down to the second part of the Excel file, you will notice that there is a pretty much identical table to the first one. So this one, as I stated in the title, represents the values converted from the tests made before the patch to the values that you could get after the experience patch. Basically, I just copied all of the values from the first part of the Excel file, and then I multiplied them by that increased value that you can see on the cell S50. So the one that is right next to the blue title, that's the 133% value. So that one I will be changing later if I manage to do some retest and find a different value that the experience scaled from before and after the patch, but I'm using that value to scale all of my previous tests to what you could get nowadays after the patch. So at the time of recording this video, that value is 33%, but I may be changing that one in the future if I do some retests and find a higher or lower value. For example, someone suggested me that the level 55 combat promotion test gives an exact amount of experience, and that one also basically scales differently after the patch. So by doing the level 55 combat promotion, I could get an exact difference value, but I didn't get to test it yet, so 33% is the value that I'm using for now. Other than that, the table is pretty much identical to the first one. The only difference is the purple cells. So those purple values are the ones that I tested after the patch. So for now, at the time of doing this video, I only have 3 of them at Cadres, Bandits and Pirates. And that's because I tested those exact rotations again on my level 60 wizard after the experience got buffed. And the reason why I chose 33% is because if you look on that red cell and compare it to the one that's right next to it, the purple one, basically by scaling the one from before the patch by 33%, it kind of matches the test that I made after the patch. So that's why I say that 33% should be the normal scaling value, or at least it seems like it is to me. At the time of making this video, there isn't any other thing to talk about in this chart. So basically the first part represents only values tested before the patch, and the second one are the values from before the patch converted to the ones you could get nowadays after the experience patch. And also those purple values, they do not scale by 33% because those purple values are individual from the rest of the chart. They are tested after the patch and are basically real nowadays values. But still you can compare the purple values to the green ones that I tested before. That's assuming that the 33% is indeed a proper experience scaling, but if it is, then the green and purple values should be basically exactly the same and comparable to each other. So I think I'm finished explaining. I basically went through everything, even though I'm pretty sure you would be able to read this on your own, and if not, again, I included cells in this Excel file that explain everything, so you can see the actual test level is written in orange, then converted level does not include speed differences in yellow, and so on. So if I test new areas in the future, I'm going to be including them in this file after I make the video for that area, of course. So this entire video is going to be representing all of the experience for all of the areas that I tested before and that I will be testing in the future. So depending on when you see this video, you might see more values introduced in this file. So of course they are going to be all in purple, but for now, to have an idea, there are only 3 purple values. Of course you're going to have to download the file to actually see the differences, because I'm only going to be posting the link on this video's description and on my Discord server. You can take the link and post it wherever you want, but I myself am not going to make another video on this topic or just post it on other places. For example, I'm not really a member of the forums, so I'm not going to be posting it there. And also, before I forget, if you want to see the actual rotations, I would suggest you watch the individual videos for all of these areas, because on this Excel file I only pointed out the names that I used myself for these rotations, so you will actually have to look at the individual videos if you didn't see them already, or if you are confused about which rotation is which, because I obviously cannot place those on this file, or I could put the links and maybe I will talking about that, but at the time of making this video you have to look at the individual videos if you don't know the rotations already. I hope I didn't make this too boring by explaining too much or something like that, but I just wanted to make sure that you understand how I made this file. So yeah, I hope this helps you, and actually it should help you. And yeah, thanks for watching the video. If you have anything to talk about this, you can leave a comment and we can discuss about this further. And if not, then I just hope to see you next time.